Hello, my darlings. Welcome back to an amazing episode. I am beyond excited to be back in the studio with you all. And I do apologise because since I've had an absence, it would appear that you've all missed me because the spikes in our ratings have gone off the charts. And I've been so excited and sending the producer loads of messages going, oh my gosh, everyone's finding the podcast. Now I've kind of had to take a break for travel. Anyway, it's always the way, isn't it? At least I know you all miss me and I'm back. And I just want to say to all the newbies as well that have just found this, thank you so much for being here. It's a pleasure to have you. And I really hope you get a lot from this podcast because I love to pour into you all and give so much spiritual insight. I also want to say as well that I've got some amazing things coming up in the pipeline that are just going to literally blow your socks off. But I'll share that later on and you'll get little snippets throughout so you'll know what's coming. But just to kickstart this episode, we have got some amazing things coming forward on basically what you guys have been talking to me about the most. And I hear this a lot. And when I get a lot of inbox messages and people that my existing clients ask this question, I feel like I need to do an episode on it. So I know this is going to really help you. And I don't want you to, I am going to make the topic about business here, but it's still relevant to anything in life. So if you listen to this and you're at a place where you feel maybe there's something calling you to pivot, then you're in exactly the right place. So you know what it's like. We can walk through life and we can be thinking that we're on the right track, we're doing all the right things, and then suddenly we're felt that everything becomes hard. So what used to be really easy, what used to be almost second nature, starts to feel like there's something missing. And I know myself when I have this, and it's so frustrating because in our heads, we've got this grand plan and we think, if I do this, this and this, then it will result in that. And because we've got our plan in our head and we feel that's the way we're going to go, that's the way it's going to work, when it doesn't quite materialize to that, it can be very, very upsetting and it can make us feel like we're on the wrong track. And quite often you are on the right track. Yet what I see is that people take those signs as I'm on the wrong track. I've got to go. I've got to leave. This isn't right. And it's like, you've got to be able to understand when it's time for you to pivot and when it's time for you to make a change and when it's time for you to walk away. And your spirit guides will send you signs. They send you obstacles, and I'm going to go through them all, so don't worry, you'll be able to understand which one you've got and whether it means you need to pivot or not. But they'll send you specific signs, and a lot of the time, like I said, we can misconstrue it. And if we've got that fear within us that actually maybe this hurdle means something else, and maybe it brings up a regress memory or something that you've gone through before, and then instantly you're like, I don't want to go through that again. I can't face that. So you shut down everything and you stop potentially what you're here to do. That happens, and I've seen it happen. And when some clients have come to me and I'm like, right, this is what you need to do. These are the moves. And they're like, well, I've done that before and it didn't work. I'm like, but did you do this part? And what point did it not work? And then that's when I realized they've missed the pivot rather than listening to their fear. They've missed the pivot and they've listened to the fear and they've stopped. So you could be doing that now. You could be about to walk away or give in to something that you're not meant to do. You're meant to stay with it, but you're meant to make a slight change. So this is all very well and good, but how do you actually know what those signs are? Like, how do you know when it's fear? How do you know when it's a sign that you're meant to pivot and do something else? Well, one of my clients, and this is where it comes into business, they were running ads and doing really, really well, selling products through ads. And then all of a sudden, the ads stopped working. And they were literally pouring every ounce of energy, every specialist, every person you could imagine into these ads to try and fix it. And they were literally talking all the tech. They'd learnt everything you could imagine, really, really trying to get their products seen. And because they care about their service, they care about what they're offering. And yet all I could feel was, and they were telling me all of this and I was sat there listening, and all I could feel was the spirit guides going, stop, there's another way. Stop and pivot. And they were actually saying to me, do you think our time has run with this business? Do you think maybe you were only meant to do it for so many years? And sometimes that's the case. You are only meant to do it for a certain period of time. I was like, no, that's not the case. And they knew deep down, they knew that wasn't the case. But I was like, I really feel here you need to just stop for a minute. They're like, we can't stop. This is our business. We've got to have sales. We've got to generate income. We've got to keep the balls rolling. We've got to get everything in the right direction, which I fully appreciate, fully understand. But I was like, you just need to stop. You just need to stop. And they're like, okay, and do what? What do you suggest? I was like, I know, just bear with me. I'll get the next message. So I'm like, okay, what else do they need to do? They're stopping, they're agreeing to the stop. What else do you want them to do? And the message was, you need to stop and you need to pivot. I was like, okay, pivot where? Hello, anyone up there? Pivot where? Where do they need to pivot? Like, honestly, sometimes. And they're like, they need to stop and they need to do different angles. So there was another angle that they wanted to add in to these products that this client hadn't considered, hadn't done, and was going to be massively beneficial to their business, which they didn't know at this point. So I said, they want you to do this instead. And they're like, so you telling us the ads are no longer working? We should just give up on ads? Which sometimes is quite a good thing because they actually are really expensive to run and a lot to manage. But I was like, no, don't give up on the ads, but you need to have another way. You need to pivot. And they're like, but we can't afford to do that because what if it doesn't work? I was like, you can't think like that. This is where the fear comes in. This is where everyone thinks there's only one way when they've got evidence that that way works. So they'll do everything possible to make it go back to how it was. And sometimes there are little tweaks that you can do to fix things, absolutely. But this was very different. And I think you'll understand listening to this, that there's something you're thinking about right now that will relate it to you, where you understand there's a change needed. You know the different frequency. You can feel it in your body. So the client ended up changing and adding something else in and left the ads. The other avenue they used started to soar, started to benefit them. They were like, oh my God, we've been sat with this available this whole time and we haven't done it. And I was like, well, you're doing it now. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. So they started that and they got the generating the income through. And then somebody else came along, another ad specialist, and said, if you did this and this to your ads and actually pivoted that direction, you know that that's what's missing because things change in the ad space and tech world. And they were like, okay, well, we can try it because we've got the income coming in from over here. So we can pivot both ways and we can have the ads running and this new way. So we can actually double the income. Is that what you're telling us? I'm like, yeah. So they did it, they invested, and their turnover from the ad spend has been phenomenal. So if they hadn't have had that dip or that blip, they would never have had the other income stream revenue. So the pivoting was essential. Having the trust and the faith to pivot is terrifying. And sometimes you can feel like, well, I'm putting everything at risk. And is it better the devil you know? Is this right? But they did it and they persevered. And the only reason they did go ahead with it, yes, okay, they had me to reassure them and there's a relationship there. They know they've had evidence that Spirit has supported them before. So, of course, they had an added advantage. But I want you to think now, if you're going through something that used to be really simple and used to be quite straightforward or was something that you just did in your sleep, like a breeze, it could be business, it could be a relationship, it could be anything. It used to run smoothly. And then now you're hit with obstacles and now it feels hard and now it feels like it's draining you. And you're like, oh, why is it not working? What have I missed? What has changed? I want you to stop and think, is this hard because there's something that's changed within me? Is there something I've evolved with? Is there something else I'm supposed to be doing here? Do I still believe in what I'm offering? Or do I still believe in the relationship or whatever it is that you're using at the moment that's coming to your forefront of your mind? And if the answer's no, you need to pivot. But if it's a case of, this really is not serving me, I don't want to do this anymore, I really know that even though it's not just draining me, it's not just making me question things, it's making me genuinely know within my heart, I'm meant to break free, then leave. So hello everyone, sorry to interrupt the podcast. I know it's so annoying when this happens, but I do have something super amazing for you all. So I have a freebie, oh yes, a juicy freebie called Just Ask Spirit. all of you send me messages asking me how you can actually ask your spirit guides for support, how you can actually connect in with them. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to do that for free in a group and personally coach you through it. All you need to do is go to the show notes, click the link, and you'll be added straight to the group. This is going to be absolutely transformational. So if you don't want to improve your life, click past this, ignore it. But if you do want to add just a bit of spiritual magic into your life and you want to know how you can do it for the best, get yourself in the group. I'll see you there. Leave and move and make that change in your life. Be brave enough. But don't panic and be fearing if things are just slightly difficult, but you need to pivot. You need to go through the process before you give up on anything. You need to look at what it actually means to you. You know you better than anyone. And even if you've maybe lost yourself a little bit at the moment, you still know yourself better than anyone else. So remember, if it feels so hard, it's feeling hard because you either need to make a change or you need to walk away. And the process of elimination with that, of how much it really makes you feel, will determine which direction you're meant to go. So sit with it and think about it. The other thing as well that comes through when we are ready to pivot is that what suddenly used to kind of give you, I want to say income, but what used to maybe work for you, so not necessarily business decisions, but things become a lot, what's the words I'm trying to find? Let me get the words, guys. Let me get the words. It's coming. But things should be inspiring you. So, you know, when you're in something you love, you get constant ideas. You get constant, like, I call them downloads. So I was trying to find another word for download, but I call like downloads for my spirit guides. And it's like inspiring ideas. You get really excited. And if that starts to dry up and you're like, oh, I can't think of what to do next. I don't know where to go from here. If you're starting to feel that way, then it's time to make a move. You either need to step away and get yourself back into inspiration. Sometimes that's the pivot. You can't fear and go, oh my God, I've lost all my inspiration, all my connection. I'm never going to get a download again. Oh my God, because it's going to get worse and worse and worse. That's your fear talking. If you react from fear, you're going to really sabotage anything else coming through. So make sure you're really feeling that you're understanding within you now what makes you feel inspired. What are your go-to things to do? So for me, if I've lost inspiration or if I'm too in my head, I'll go off and sit in nature. Like on the beach, I'll go to a field. You'll see me like randomly just talking to myself. Like all of those things I'll take myself away from the everyday and the hustle and bustle. Okay, so that's how I would do it. But it could be different for you. You could need a long drive. You could need a certain music. You could need to listen to me maybe. Hi. Whatever it is that gets you motivated and creative, do it. Because then you'll understand if you've done all your go-to tools and still nothing's coming through, then maybe you need to walk away from it. If you do your go-to tools and inspiration comes through, maybe that's all you needed was that pivot. Maybe things weren't stagnant. Maybe you were just ready to move, ready for a new direction, ready for fresh energies, fresh vibrations coming through. That's what you were needing. So pay attention to that. The other thing as well is how happy do you look in what you're doing? How much joy is it bringing you? And this goes to like ease, and it probably all intertwines as one. But when you're really in your passion and you're exactly where you're supposed to be, everyone will comment on your energy. They'll go, I just love being in your energy. I just love being around you. Or you look so happy. You look so radiant. You're doing so well. Everything looks like it's thriving for you. They'll comment on you. They'll see that magic in you. And so think about that. Think about how you feel, how excited you feel. Are you ready to jump up and start the work? Are you ready to go for it? Or are you actually thinking, oh, don't want to do this? So ask your friends, ask your family, how do I appear to you? They know you better. Sometimes you're so disconnected from yourself, you can't see it. But just ask and see what the response is. But remember, there's always a way that you can pivot. And your spirit guides, and this is the one thing I want to end here with because this is really prominent, they will send you uncomfortable feelings. So they'll make you to feel disconnected. They will stop sending you ideas. That's why I've touched on all of this, but you need to be aware of this. They won't send you the ideas. They'll make everything difficult for you. They'll put blocks in the way, because if it's not serving you, or if it's not meant to be your next step or your next move, or you're not meant to stay in that pathway, they will put the blockers on. So that's why I'm telling you this, so that you can be aware first, and then you can understand that's what's happening. The world hasn't contrived to go, right, all the spirit guides have gone, right, they don't need anything anymore. We're going to cut them off at the supply. That's it. Nope, they're done. That's not what's happened. They haven't done that. They're trying to help you get back on course. So don't fight it. Don't sit there and be so, I've got to be in it. I've got to blood, sweat, tears. I've got to keep fighting it. I've got to just surrender. Surrender. Take a step back. Look at this from a different perspective, and you're going to find the way. You'll see what's next. And if you need my help with this, my inbox is always open. I've got a variety of courses, variety of ways I can support you. But before you come to me, just do a little analysis of yourself and see if you can think about maybe there's something you could tweak and a way you could pivot. So if you found this episode today, I know you found it for a reason. If you've been drawn to listen, there's something you need to move, walk away from, or pivot. But first of all, connect with yourself and connect with the guidance. You've got this. And as always, my darlings, I'm going to end the episode with a feather intention. So if you've been around here quite a while, you'll know this is a regular thing. It's what we always do. And we're going to say, Spirit guides, forces the highest good in intention of purity and light. Help our listeners to understand the difference between when they're fearing their success and when they're ready to pivot. Help them know that they're always being protected, always got strength, always got guidance. Support them. They need you. There you go. Thank you so much, my darlings. I'll see you back on another episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave me a comment, because I'm loving all of your comments that I'm getting every day. So please keep them coming, and I'll continue to make great content for you all. Take care. Bye.